Between Nerds has been drafted into the National Nerd League. Hi guys, my name is Drew Philip Elias. I'm with my co-host, Mr. Aldo Mendez. We are Between Nerds, and welcome back to episode 42? 41? 41. This is episode 41 of Between Nerds.
We uploaded them 40 last Tuesday. If you haven't,
I can't even count to 40. Aldo, like how would I know?
I don't know. We have 41 episodes, so we better start studying.
Yeah. This week we are going to be discussing the Studio Ghibli film Princess Mononoke, but because the month of April just ended, today is May 1st. You will be listening to this probably May 3rd. The nonprofit giveaway and donation has ended for the month of April.
Thank you for everybody that used the hashtag. We did get some usage unlike last time, and you tweeted, "Thank you guys for using the hashtag," but nobody used the hashtag. We had likes.
Yeah. So we were able to make our donation to the Paso del Norte Center of Hope, who helps human trafficking victims. Which, even the news this week, 90 human trafficking people were found in some abandoned house in Houston. It's a big deal, you know what I mean? So, although y'all didn't use hashtag anti-trafficking nerds last month, we still made a $20 donation because we're nice guys like that. And it seems like we're only going to be giving $20, $25 to the Pan-Pacific American Leaders Foundation because we didn't get that much usage either, but at least we got more than zero this time.
Yeah, we'll be announcing the winner at the end.
Yeah. What else? And we do want everyone to know at the beginning of this episode that the hashtag for the month of May will be hashtag educated nerds. We will be donating to the El Paso Independent School District Education Foundation. And just like every other month, if you use hashtag educated nerds, you will automatically be entered into our May giveaway. You could win something super nice for free. Just like for free. This Edward Elric little figure that we got for the April winner. Yeah, and
it's just either you like it, retweet it, comment, or make your original tweet using the hashtag, and you'll be entered.
Yeah, and I guess we can go ahead and get started. This is Princess Mononoke, 1997, Studio Ghibli.
Threw a curveball at me. We were just talking about how Ghibli is like the Disney, of anime, and this one turned a little darker than usual. No more gory.
Yeah, how Miyazaki, especially in the beginning of this one, it feels really Disney, like forests, and a lot of the music reminded me of classic Disney just because it's a lot of horns, lots of piano. It's an orchestra, as opposed to by the time you get to Spirited Away, it sounds a lot more like traditional Japanese flutes and their stringed instruments. But this one sounds like he's taking from Western European orchestral sounds.
Okay.
And on its face, Princess Mononoke is just about how industry is kind of killing nature. But I feel like I've heard that story before. I've heard that story a million different times, like a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. It made me think about the James Cameron movie. What's it called? Avatar. It's literally the plot to Avatar, which is the plot to Pocahontas. Yeah, which is the plot to Pocahontas. And it was just, I don't know. I was expecting Princess Mononoke. I don't know, the name itself
to actually be like a princess story.
Yeah, the actual title. You were telling me that the Mononoke is not necessarily a name. It's a
Mononoke means
being a certain way.
It's an unexplained thing from a natural disaster to a minor headache. So, it's weird that they translated Hime, because it's originally Mononoke Hime. But they kept the Mononoke title, which confuses Western audiences. So why not just call it, Magical Princess or something? Yeah. The Unexplainable Princess. Yeah. That would have been a good movie title. I don't know why they wouldn't just, But yeah, so, we're not even following this main girl here because, what other movie is it where there's a studio... Howl's Moving Castle isn't even about Howl.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even he's not the main character in his own titled movie.
Yeah, the cast would have like very little parts in that movie.
Yeah, and Princess Mononoke, as opposed to being about this girl San, we're actually following this Ashitaka guy. Mm-hmm. And me and you were watching it with Vianney last night, and one of the first things I commented on was that it reminds me, like, the architecture of this guy's, like, tribe, his village, reminds me a lot of, like, Native American culture. But this is, like, the traditional Japanese people that lived on the islands before, like, Koreans emigrated, like, thousands of years ago into the Japanese islands. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that same dynamic, I guess. And I just thought it was interesting that, like, you see similar patterns in architecture, at least portrayed in films, about, like, native groups on different sides of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With different, I mean, the same kind of artifacts, but they're just, like, 1,000 miles away.
Yeah, and it's scary at first because it's like the movie opens and it's just a forest and it's this dude riding an elk, and all you know is that he climbs this thing and there's like some kind of monster behind like the tree line. Yeah,
it's almost like a farmland almost, and we meet Ashitaka, which is they call him Prince also in his village.
They call him Prince Ashitaka. Yeah.
So I can't remember the name of the town that they were, but yeah, he's almost like he is a prince because they call him Prince, but they don't really explain that.
Amishi Village.
Amishi Village. Mm-hmm. But we know that this guy is very capable. Like you said, he's riding like this reindeer guy that just remind me of like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
It's a red elk though.
Yeah.
And that I had a lot of questions about like if this was supposed to be Japan or Europe, because I thought elk were native to Europe and not like Japan. I didn't know that they had like animals like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he
senses that there's something wrong in the forest, like in the woods, deep in the woods. So he sends off like his sheep or whatever, his herd or whatever he's doing, mm-hmm. right? He sends it off. He goes to this like tower, which reminds me a lot about, you know, like you said, like Native American or like some other indigenous architecture, you know what I'm saying? And they see this big old like crazy worm thing coming at you, and it's animated really good. We thought there was no CGI on this because initially we thought this was made in like 80-something. Yeah. We found out that it was 97. So we're like, okay, no wonder that was pretty good.
The graphics still look really good for 1997. Like, compare this to like how CGI looked in the Berserk remake that came out like 5-6 years ago. This looks way better. And it's just, this is a studio, we've talked about this in Studio Ghibli films before. They like just like showing off how much they're budgeting towards just the animation, because there's every scene is full of motion. Like there's so much going on every single panel, and like some of the things very much aren't CGI. So that means a guy's really just like drawing each panel in every frame, and it's 24 FPS. Like this isn't even like 12 or 8 or something.
Yeah, and let me tell you, there's about just 40 names at the end of the credits for like animation departments. I mean, 40 dudes, it's not a lot of dudes.
It's still a lot though.
It's a lot. Well, it's a lot of dudes, but like the way this is animated, it's really fucking good.
Yeah, because the very first introduction of this demon in the beginning, he's a giant boar that's being possessed by a demon, more like, but it's just like it looks like writhing worms. Like if you were just to open a can of worms and see them all just like wiggling around super frantically, that's exactly what it looks like. So it's such a head rush, and it's a lot of purples and blacks, and it's
the red eyes.
And the red eyes, and everything's like dying around him. It's like a metaphor for poison, and that he's like being toxic to the forest and all this stuff.
So we have like this badass, also well animated in different angles of our protagonist Ashitaka riding his reindeer and doing this like Breath of the Wild fucking like enemy like DPS, bro. Like it's awesome.
It's really those like boss battles in Breath of the Wild where you're riding your horse but you're trying to shoot like the one weak point at the same time, and he's like doing it with this boar's eyeball.
Yeah. And he shoots one eyeball, and then fucking the thing goes fucking wild. It's fucking ridiculously animated because you have frames of him going around him, but him is also made out of like all these 1,000 little drawings of little worms put together, and it just fucking looks crazy.
Yeah, and so he's trying to like drive it away from his village because like his sister and like her friends are like trying to escape it at the same time, and his arm ends up getting like caught up by this curse or this demon entity coming out of this boar, and it like the worms like writhe around like his forearm. And it seems painful and like it's burning, but like he still like puts the boar down, and then like the spot where the boar just like topples over and he's still breathing really heavy, the wise woman of the town comes out and she's like trying to pray over it so that and that reminds me of like how the I almost said The Godfather, but like how Catholics and The Exorcist like treat like curses and demons. Like you would pray over it so that it doesn't like the spirit doesn't seek revenge almost, and try to take its revenge out on the surrounding people and try to hurt them. And this patch of grass where the boar falls, it's starting to die around it, like it's toxic,
and the worms start to just dissipate, like they just start like pouring over him and dissipate into the grass and stuff, and then he's revealed like as a full like a full hog, a full big old wild hog. And as the lady comes in and tries and prays for her, this big old boar animated with just a little bit of animation on the mouth, like if he's talking, and then he starts to talk, and he's just like in a really deep voice like, haha, pathetic humans, fucking I'm gonna destroy you or some shit like that.
It's like how did you ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he learns how to do how to bend fire, he meets like some dragons? It's animated like that. Like the mouths are just moving really slowly up and down, and like the dialogue's not even like trying to match with it, but it's because they're magical. I don't know.
Yeah, like they talk like that lion in Narnia.
Yeah. Aslan, who's an allegory for Jesus. There's also an allegory for Jesus in this movie too. And
by this moment, it turns very berserky, bro, because the boar
Berserk the anime,
yeah. The boar starts to decay, and he melts, and like that demon voice, and it just turned into like a very dark demonic thing.
Yeah, it looks scary because the animation is just the frame is close up on like his face, and then like the skin just like decays very quickly, and you're starting to see
Indiana
the bones.
Jones.
Yeah, it looks exactly like that scene from Indiana Jones, except it's a fucking 1,000-pound boar, and you're seeing just like this purple smoke and like this black powder like come off his skin, and he's just like it's kind of disturbing, and you don't expect it. And we were commenting on it too. This is the only Studio Ghibli movie I've seen with gore. Like, yeah, Fireflies was super fucked up, and like it had some disturbing imagery, but it didn't have any gore like at all.
But then I think right a little bit before this, the dialogue tells us that he was poisoned by a bullet. An iron bullet, right?
The matriarchal leader of the village, the elderly woman, pulls out like this iron ball from like his pit, and like we know it to be like a bullet. It just looks like this giant like cannonball bullet, and she's just like, yeah, this was poisoning him, and this is what drove him mad, and this was put a curse on him. So then as an audience, it's kind of telling you like, oh, is this really like super magical, or is it like more just talking about how industry takes away from nature and like how we're poisoning these animals?
And I think that at some point there's a lot of elements that they try so hard to like not give you a hint that that's what the movie's about, because It introduces you to Ashitaka, and he's a prince. And you know the movie's called Princess Mononoke, so you're looking for something that is not there. You're looking for
Princess Mononoke the whole movie. You're like, where is she?
Yeah, like you're looking for something that it's not there to put you away for what the plot of the story is, which is like the industrialization and like deforestation of nature.
Yeah. So it's one of it's again just one of those stories about like humans are shit.
Mm-hmm. So after the worms fell in his arm.
You know what I was thinking about last night though? It's kind of also the plot to The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid. I never saw The Little Mermaid.
You never saw The Little Mermaid? So The Little Mermaid is basically...
She gets legs. That's all I know.
Well, the Disney interpretation is that... So, yeah, she's trying to get the legs and fall in love with the prince, whatever. I'm not talking the original one where she dies at the end, but like the Disney version. So the mermaids have an underground civilization, or like an underwater civilization, but like humans keep leaving their trash and their garbage and are like harming the fish and like being super destructive, and that's like the subplot of like how the humans are like secretly evil, but it takes the prince falling in love with a fish lady to learn that we should be nice to the ocean. Yeah, Disney stuff. But again, like this is Japanese Disney kind of.
Disney
so like
magic.
Yeah. So you can think about it in the same way. Mm-hmm. And so Ashitaka, his arm's poisoned. Like it's fucked up. Like he's got these giant purple magical scars that are like spreading over his forearm. Mm-hmm. And they're having like a powwow. It looks like a Native American like meeting. You know what I mean? They're all cross-legged in this wood cabin, and they're having a meeting. And the wise woman's like playing with rocks and trying to tell fortunes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's able to determine like where the boar came from and how we're gonna go.
By the way, by the time we get to the end of the movie, I mean, we need to call bullshit on this bitch as fucking fortune telling, bro, because that shit was off.
It I don't know. It was just it's a generic call to adventure. This is the hero's journey again. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's exactly what was I calling? What was I using the hero's journey for to describe like 2 weeks ago?
Gurren Lagann.
Gurren Lagann, yes, because Gurren Lagann is the call to adventure because he leaves his home and he meets a girl and he solves the problem by becoming a stronger person, and then it's cyclical, so it's setting up another call to adventure for like a new generation, which is also like how Demon Slayer goes.
Yeah.
But anyways, so like you're right, like this fortune telling chick is just go west, and like
you're gonna die, bro.
Yeah, she's
straight
like
straight up tells him it's like you're gonna die.
Yeah, she's like your arm is gonna spread towards your whole body and you're just gonna die. So you might as well just like go try to be productive.
Yeah. So they send this fucking kid off just dying. Like, well, we don't want any lepers here.
Mm-hmm. Which, well, like we do see actual lepers in this movie too, which is super sad.
Yeah, super sad. And but what happens?
He's traveling west. Like all he knows is just go fucking west. So he's going, and he finds like a more civilized town. Oh no! Immediately after he clears the forest, he sees that a village is being raided by samurai.
Oh, that's right.
And this guy's like a whiz with like his bow and arrow, which we know from his fight with the boar. But now like he's got this cursed arm that lets him like draw back the string further. Mm-hmm. So he's just like, this is where the gore comes in, because he shoots an arrow and it'll just take somebody's head clean off.
Dude, we see the first shot where he takes that guy's arms.
Yeah.
And sticks him into the fucking tree.
We just see like his forearm getting buff, and he just rips it, and then like the arrows go through both of his forearms and just rips off like the arms.
It looks very fucking cool, and like that's why I said like it's very berserky at points.
Yeah.
Because this guy is just, dude, and the arm just getting buff and animated like that. Because as he's drawing the fucking like the bow, like the arm is getting swole as well, you know? It looks fucking ridiculous.
And he just starts like sniping people from like super far, and you can just see like this was made in 97, so like the background figures aren't super detailed, but like you just see like a character that's like 5 pixels tall, and just a pixel that's supposed to be the head just falls off.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So he knows something's up, right? So he goes into like this other opposing town and he's trying to buy rice, but like he's not from this civilization. Like he's not super refined. He doesn't have actual money, and he's just trying to buy this bag of rice at this communal rice buying location. So he gives this chick a piece of gold, like solid gold, and he's just like, "Is this enough?" And tries walking away, and she makes like a big scene of it, like trying to like embarrass him, being like, "Yo, this isn't real money." Yeah. And it's not until Jikobo, just like this really... we know something's off about him. Like, he tries being nice to Ashitaka, but he's like... He's short and ugly and fat, and he's got this big acne... nose. Yeah, big red acne-filled nose. He looks like the witch from Snow White. Mm-hmm. When she turns evil. Yeah. And like that. So she looks like a Disney villain. You know what I mean? So... You don't think that this Jikobo guy is like... You don't trust his intentions from the beginning just based on his character model.
Mm-hmm. And as he pays with his gold nugget, literally, this guy's like, what? This could be gold and be worth more, blah, blah, blah. He says that, and then he immediately says, but if you want, I'll take this and I'll pay you for the rice. Yeah. And she's like, no. And they make a whole thing about the nugget for no reason, just to animate it.
It's I think it's just an excuse to introduce Jikobo, because like he does turn into the main villain by the end of it, but it's trying to introduce him like through like a personal aspect before the actual like plot of the movie comes in, I think. Mm-hmm. So he has dinner with Ashitaka, and it's clear that he knows where he's from, because he's like, oh, have you heard about Emishi Village? I heard they all ride red elk, and they have these cool bowls, which Ashitaka gives him like this cool, like fancy rice bowl to serve him out of, and Jokobo notices that like right away. And so he knows what's up. Mm-hmm. And he points Ashitaka in the direction of where he wants to go, because his only goal is to figure out where this iron ball is from. Ashitaka's goal. So Jokobo's like, just keep going west to Irontown, and not really worrying about like what ends up happening to him or anything like that.
Yeah. And then as we go, when something happens in that town, right? It gets attacked by the wolves.
No. So we get like a scene cutting there after they go to sleep in the cave after eating the rice.
We meet that lady.
Right. So we see like a traveling party like going across a mountain with like oxen like carrying
onyxes.
Oxen like carrying like iron and stuff like that over this mountain with a bunch of guys with like guns in the rain. But then we meet what's her name? The
bitch.
Oh, Lady Eboshi. So we meet Lady Eboshi, who's like the chick in charge of like this iron harvesting crew, and she notices wolves like on the far side of the mountain. Uh-huh. And that's where we get introduced to like San before they even introduce her as San. And it's just these giant like mythical wolves. Like they're like 20 feet long, and like these 1,000-pound giant jawed wolves, like 3 times as big as these giant ox.
And honestly, dude, me waiting, because I've never seen this before. I've never seen Princess Mononoke before. And I've only known like the characters through memes or through pictures on the internet, right? Like I know it's about this girl that it's with these wolves or these dogs looking animals, right? And at this point in the story, I'm almost not even paying attention to what's going on, because I'm still looking for Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
So,
but then you kind of see her right there, because she's riding a wolf. And Lady Eboshi, she's telling like her crewmen, she's like, where's the bigger wolf? Where's the mother? Like, that's who we need to be on the lookout for. So then this even bigger wolf just pops out of nowhere, grabs this ox, like, and a bunch of dudes, and just knocks them down this mountain. But Lady Eboshi shoots this giant wolf in the chest. Mm-hmm. And later on, or the next scene is we see Ashitaka at like the base of this mountain at a creek. He's like crossing it with his elk or whatever, but on the far ground he starts seeing like bodies and like people just floating in the river. And he's a good guy, you know what I mean? So he picks them out of the river and like lays them down, and like both of them have broken arms, one of them's got a broken leg, one of them's like super concussed, but on the other side of the bank he sees the wolves, so he sees this girl, and like right away, like I don't know, I guess you're supposed to assume he's attracted to her because like although she's a dirty wolf girl living in the forest, they draw her with like a lot of accessories, a lot of makeup, like she's wearing these giant earrings, but then we see that giant wolf that got shot in the chest, and the jarring scene here is that the human girl starts sucking the blood out of the wound of the giant wolf. And so that's the first like up close shot we get of her, because it pans in and it's just her face full of blood and spitting it out, and the wolf like right over her left shoulder just like looking at the camera, super ugly. And
doesn't she say like, get out of here humans or something?
I hate humans.
We fucking hate humans. And then she's like, but you're a human. She's like, no. And then she gets on the fucking wounded wolf. And then you see the other wolf dragging Nox out the mountain, and it's just like far away, but it looks good. It looks really good, and they just go up, and he goes back into the town, right?
Not yet. He takes both of these injured guys.
Oh, that's right.
He throws one of them.
He goes back to them.
Yeah, he throws one of them over the elk, and he's trying to get them home. And so he starts going through this forest, and only one of these guys is conscious. The other one has like a giant head injury.
Yeah.
But we start seeing these.
Everybody looks like they have head injuries.
Well, it's like the Dark Ages. You know what I mean? Like everyone's poor and doesn't shower and just trying to get by. But we start seeing like these little white ghosts. They're like forest spirits. What are they called? They're like these super crazy looking
just forest spirits. I told you, it reminds me of the Deku trees sprouts from the Zelda.
Yeah, they look just like the Deku sprouts,
and they sound just the same. It's just like the same.
Kodama. They're called Kodama. And Ashitaka right away, or the guys he's with that were part of the Iron Party that fell down the mountain, they're scared of these things right away. But Ashitaka's like, no, these are Kodama. They're signs of a healthy forest.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's when they start actually traveling through the forest instead of like down the river, and it does turn out to be super magical, and it reminds me of. Which Harry Potter is it? It's like the 5th Harry Potter, where he's fighting the Dementors at like this lake inside of a forest, but it's really pretty and a lot of blues. And
oh yeah, and then the big elk thing appears.
Right. Which was his mom's Patronus or whatever the fuck. Yes. I haven't seen Harry Potter in so long.
But also that location when they end up with a big old tree and the little water section, like that's just Zelda right there. It reminds me of like the Deku Tree location.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Or like there's like fairy fountains in certain games
in the Wind Waker.
Yeah,
there's one that you teleport literally inside a big tree, and it's like a little pond, like manantial looking thing.
Yeah, I agree completely, because he's setting these guys down, but like he starts like tripping, like he starts like hallucinating almost,
because he sees that big old. Doesn't he take also a look at? Oh well, yeah, that's right. When the guy was looking at one of those little sprouts. He starts losing his mind, because I guess he's gazing into like a god almost.
Yeah, what we don't even realize is that he's seeing the forest spirit, who ends up being like the most important character in this movie. And it reminds me of a Pokemon. There's like 2 Pokemon gens ago, which already came out like 10 years ago. Pokemon X and Y came out. The cover Pokemon for Pokemon X is a deer with like these giant like antlers coming out, and he's shaped like an X. But like it reminds me of the forest spirit and how he looks in Princess Mononoke, because, and it makes a lot of sense, because This is gonna sound super stupid and nerdy, but like the thing about the Pokemon typing the fairy type, which was introduced like 2 gens ago and wasn't part of the original games, is that they're not traditional fairies like Western fairies, like little fucking girls with wings and stuff.
Yeah,
they're more treated as like forest spirits and like forest fairies. And so even though it's a deer, but because it's the legendary fairy Pokemon, he's a forest spirit, and he's a god of like natural wonders, and like that's his power, is to like pull from nature, as opposed to like grass Pokemon or stuff like that. But yeah.
I get it.
So that's how I'm relating it to Pokemon.
I like it.
Because right away when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's where like they got this idea. So, and what we were talking about with Princess Mononoke is that a lot of these, like, Studio Ghibli especially, they're twisting their own like traditional Japanese stories and like kind of making them their own. So Ashitaka with these guys is able to cut through the forest and he gets to the Iron Town. But then right away, like, even though he's delivering these injured guys, the village is suspicious of him because the people in charge of like the ox line that was trying to deliver the iron, they press him right away and they're like, who the fuck are you? Like, how did you get here so quickly? Like, you almost beat us here. And like they were traveling on the mountain. And we get like although at this point in the movie we've been led to believe that this Iron Town, because they're a source of like these guns and this industrialization, that they're the enemies here. But the next like 20-30 minutes of the movie tries humanizing this village, because it's just about him like going through the town and meeting all the people, and like everyone is being put to work. Like the women are working in the iron like smelting facilities, the men are like mining the iron and like getting hurt on the mountains and all that stuff. But like it's a community, you know what I mean? They're all really happy about what Lady Eboshi is doing to like help them out and making sure that like the village grows and that they can get their necessities and stuff like that.
And by the way, let me mention the dub. It's got some guys. It's got some known people in there. It's got Billy Bong Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah, he's Jikibo, the little merchant dude, or the monk, whatever he's trying to be.
And then Jada Smith is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. And then like I was telling you about like the dub thing with the Weinstein Studios.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that this was like an American Weinstein production, which like there's so many movies that like you can rewatch now and you're like, like they all had a relationship with this guy. Like all the old Quentin Tarantino movies were Weinstein movies. That's so disappointing. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
but like, what's the story? Like you told me last night, but what's the story regarding like?
Oh well, apparently from what I saw, it was that when Miyazaki, the creator of the Ghibli studio, when he was looking for a studio to dub, to have an English dub to the movie, I guess he landed on the Weinstein studio, and Weinstein was very, very well known for his rape. I'm just playing for his cutting movies, and cutting movies to make it more quote unquote palatable for the audiences and stuff, and apparently Miyazaki sent a katana to Harvey with a note that said no cuts. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty funny. And fuck Harvey Weinstein, dude. But,
oh yeah, fuck him. He's in prison, right? He's dying.
He's in prison. I remember the last piece of news I heard from him. His lawyers put out a statement that he should get out of prison because he has like a pre-existing condition, and if he could get COVID and die in prison.
So who fucking cares?
Yeah, like who cares if Harvey Weinstein dies? Yeah. I'm not sure anyone gives a fuck.
Him and Bill Cosby can pretty much.
Oh, I haven't thought about Bill Cosby in years. That's sad.
Yeah. He's a monster.
Yeah, it's weird that like it's just these old guys from like the 70s and 80s just felt like they could get away with everything. Like how many stories are there of like people that aren't even famous that just had like a plethora of victims, because it just seems like it was part of the culture at the time. Like everyone's just like partying and just doing like not even fun drugs, like just like drugging people to take advantage of them and just being a bunch of weirdos.
Fucking crazy, brother. But anyways, we get back into the town. Like you said, like he's going through town and they're being... The hospitality is there. They're introducing him to the people in there, to the women that work. And then they take Ashitaka to meet Lady... Eboshi, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where they start talking more... It's more tense in this conversation. They're like, oh yeah, we're deforesting, we're cutting up all the trees because we need to get the princess back or something like that, right?
It's so at first, before he meets up with Lady Eboshi, like he's talking with the guys and they're having dinner, and they explain that the town was made by getting money from selling the iron, but to like sell the iron they have to deforest, like you're saying. But so what happened is like the Boers one day kind of like tried to raid their iron mine because they were deforesting and like fucking everything up, and that's when they shot like the big boar. And that's how we got cursed, because it was Ashitaka that was showing them the iron ball, like the bullet, being like, yo, do you recognize this? And right away, they're like, yeah, this is ours.
Oh, and we didn't talk about it, but yeah, there seems to be different like forest entities. Like the Boers themselves are a part of the forest gods.
Yeah, they call them clans.
Yeah, and then we meet the monkeys, and then we know that there's the elk guy.
Yeah.
Elk figure. Yeah, so then...
Well, when he's meeting with Lady Eboshi, she takes him to the gun factory, which is just a room filled with lepers. And, like, that scene, like, we know that's how things were back then, but it's still fucked up to see it. And if you don't know what leprosy is, it's, like, this really common, like, infection that everyone used to get where like your limbs would fall off, and like there was nothing that they could do to treat it. It's caused by like malnutrition and like poor hygiene.
Yeah,
and at the time everyone just had it, you know what I mean?
So apparently, I can't remember where I learned this, but for example in the witch trials, in Salem witch trials where they kill a bunch of women thinking that they were witches, that the people blaming these women for being witches, apparently they were eating some sort of wheat that had mold in it, making bread with it, and they would get gangrene in their fingers.
Oh, that's the argument that like the Salem witch chicks were just tripping, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that one before. And yeah, like it's just shout out to modern medicine. Like imagine.
Penicillin, bro.
Things were things were just bad before the 20th century, and that's super recent when you think about it.
So yeah, like and again, I would like to mention the animation here, because we have this interaction with the leopards, and they're making gunpowder and then the iron pieces for the guns and stuff, and we have this piece of dialogue. It's like, hey, Miss Eboshi?
Yeah.
Lady Eboshi, this particular leper has something to say. I can't remember his name, but apparently he's important because they give him the word at that point, but he's completely covered in bandages, because that's the only thing you could do. It's like your ear falls off, it's like just bandage it up.
He's just laying on his side and dying, and it looks like he's struggling to breathe and everything.
But like how they put in those panels of like all the entire body of like the bandages moving back and forth, it looks freaking crazy.
Yeah. You know? It's super just like high quality. Like the attention to details, wild. Because like for a lot of modern anime, even like modern anime movie releases like Demon Slayer, like individual pieces won't be hyper stylized or details, like maybe on the character model itself, but it's not in motion because it's on the character model.
And we're talking about what studio? White Fox.
This is no. Oh, White Fox is for ReZero.
Oh, sorry.
This is Studio Ghibli.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Got confused there for a second.
Yeah, anyway, it looks super crazy. So that's when we learn about the ape clan, because so they go up on the roof, Lady Eboshi's testing the gun, she shoots like into the forest, and we see like these ape-like figures. They almost look like giant deformed humans, but with red eyes, and she like scares them away by shooting into the mountain, onto the forest, and she's like, I'm tired of them always trying to plant trees. And it's just, she has that real misunderstanding, because the very next scene are the wolves trying to make their way back up to the mountain to talk to like the Great Spirit or whatever, but like the ape clan tries to stop them. And the ape clan themselves, like, are discussing to the wolves, but because we're watching it as the audience, that's where we start to learn, like, what their actual goal is. Like, the apes are like, no, you're hanging out with a human, she means San, which, like, this little girl, or not a little girl, but, like, this woman that was raised by wolves and thinks of herself as a wolf. And they just don't trust her, and they want to just, like, be on the offensive and, like, try to do something about the humans, but nobody knows what to do. And so we're going to stick with, like, these cast of characters for a while, because as they're going up to the top of the mountain to, like, to that same watered location that Ashitaka was at earlier, they meet the boars too. And that's where we get, like, the explanations what happened to the big boar at the beginning, because we meet Okoto, who's, like, the leader of the boars. He's just this giant, just, like, super ancient, ugly, blind boar. He's got gunk around his eyes. He looks like he's got a floating rib cage. But we hear the dialogue from the other boars being like, it was you little human girl. You're the one that poisoned Nago. He was the most beautiful, strong, ugly boar out of all of us. And it's just like, he was, like, their great warrior. And now the boars are not only dumb because they're boars, but, like, now they're wary of everybody.
And I can't remember where I've seen this kind of narrative before, that it's like, it's like the omen of the village. It's like, no, we got to get rid of this particular thing because look at all the shit that's happening around us. And they even blame her, is like, when humans go, bad things happen and stuff like that. And it's so, like, I don't know, can't remember what movie, The Village? No, not The Village. But yeah, just like witch hunting almost,
Yeah. And so the giant white wolf, the one that got shot in the chest, we start to learn that her name's Moro, and she's San's mother. And the thing about Moro and Okoto is they start calling themselves gods almost, but, like, the way, like they're forest spirits almost. They're forest entities. And but it's clear that they're both on the decline, because, like, Moro's basically like, yeah, I'm gonna die anyways. I've lived long enough. It's fine. And Okoto is he's super concerned about, like, the future of his pig clan, because they're all stupid and just, like, want to just work on emotion as opposed to working something out. So we get to the lake forested area. And in this area, we're back to the guy that was pretending to be a merchant monk, Jikobo, from the first part of the movie, and now he's wearing, like, pig skins or, like, bear skins and something like that. He's wearing, like, animal skins, and he's with a bunch of other hunters, and they're watching, like, this giant, like, 100-foot tall, like, spirit. Like, it's like a semi-transparent, like, black, almost lizard slime looking thing, walking through the forest. And the Kodama are there, the little white shaking
little sprout
spirits are there too, and they're just freaking out about it. And that's where we get exposition from Jokobo that he's like that they're there to hunt that. They're like,
yeah,
I heard a story, or I heard a legend that this night great forest spirit is the daytime forest spirit that we actually want.
Yeah, and that by cutting its head, like by gaining its head or some shit like that, they just had a weird ass motivation.
I think his motivation was he was hired by the Emperor of Japan, I guess, to look for a way to gain immortality. So he was going to use the head of the forest spirit as an offering to the Emperor so that he could have immortality.
I don't know, but he almost tricks Miss Lady Aboshi to, like, use his soldiers to gain this, right? Because he talks her into, like, oh, this fucking thing is killing the forest, or it's doing something to the forest.
No, I don't even think that was his... Because I remember Irontown is having a battle with some other village because they're trying to take half their iron. But because they have better guns, they're winning the fight. But on their way back into town, Jikobo's there, and he talks to Lady Eboshi, and he's like, yo, like, I know you're having this battle with this other clan, but you promised me that, like, if I helped you build Irontown, that you'd get me the head of the forest god. Mm-hmm. And so she's just like, fine, whatever, and goes with Jikobo's marksman, with his hunters, and goes into the forest. Mm-hmm. And at that same moment, what's his face?
Ashitaka?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say when Lady Eboshi takes the men of the village with the guns to go hunt the forest spirit, the opposing village that they were fighting earlier kind of like raids Irontown at that same time. Mm-hmm. But before that, we get a scene where San and the wolves try to raid Irontown, and we get a really cool scene from San where she like throws a spear or like an arrow onto the wooden wall and is able to scale the wall that way.
Oh yeah.
Because she's trying to like execute Lady Eboshi. And there's a very similar scene to that where it's like an arrow in the wall and somebody jumping up and scaling the wall that way in Vinland Saga, which is an anime that came out last year. It was an Amazon Prime original, and it was about like a Viking. It's about like this Viking boy being a berserker and like just fucking murking people. And that exact same happens both here and there, and I just thought it was cool.
Okay.
So Ashitaka has like his alliances are kind of all over the place because he sees like what the forest spirits and the animals are talking about, but at the same time he's learned to like respect everybody in the village, and he learns that they're not bad people and they're just trying to do better for themselves. Mm-hmm. So when San is having like a fight in the middle of the town with Lady Eboshi and kind of losing, like Lady Eboshi's like kind of a capable like sword fighter because San's just got like a dagger and is trying to stab her, but Lady Eboshi's like she almost kills San.
Yeah.
And it takes Ashitaka. He's now, his arm is now like super
a character on its own.
Yeah, it's a character in and of itself, and he can like use it as like a power to not only be stronger, but he can start like poisoning things around him by touching them. Mm-hmm. So like Samurai trying to stop Ashitaka from stopping Lady Eboshi and San from fighting, and he's able to just like grab their swords and like bend them backwards,
bend them over. Yeah, and it's crazy because his garments that he's using at the beginning, he seems very slim, and we've seen this in many Ghibli movies that the protagonist is like a little slim dude that looks almost feminine, but like towards the middle of the movie where we kind of are, like this guy's stature is a little more like tough.
Yeah. You like he's growing up. Yeah.
And it looks fucking crazy because then he just goes and like just knocks the fuck out of both of them.
Yeah, he like kidney shots both of them, and they both just pass the fuck out.
He just carries one, like kidney shot, picks her up, kidney shot, picks her up, and that's it.
I think he leaves Lady Eboshi.
He leaves Lady Eboshi.
He grabs San and is just like, okay, I'm taking you back to the wolves or whatever.
Yeah.
So he takes her, and that's where like that's where he starts learning about the wolves and like what their motivations here are. And basically later that night, oh no. He gets shot. He gets shot on his way out for, like, harming Lady Eboshi.
Because he's just nonchalant. He gets San, picks her up, and starts walking out. Because, I mean, he's a badass now. And just this dude is like, nah, fuck that, shoot him. And gets, like, a fucking musket and just...
It was a girl.
Oh, yeah, it was a girl.
It was a girl. One of the girls, like, felt really emotional about Lady Eboshi getting hurt. And everyone else was kind of just like, no, leave him alone. But her just like spacing out, just like accidentally shoots him because like she feels bad afterwards. But he's bleeding out and kind of just doesn't even let it faze him.
And just goes through him like this big old like iron bullet just goes through him.
Yeah, it just goes through like a whole side of like his stomach. And he's just walking through the town and his arm's super powered. And they let us know that he's stronger now because the gate to the village... like a human person by themselves shouldn't be able to open it because there's a piece of dialogue that like, boy, you can't open that. It takes 10 human men to even move it an inch. And he just like one-handedly just pushes it open.
Calls his rangers like, go for it, bro. And then just lets a fucking slam behind him.
Yeah. And
is this where you think that there's a Jesus thing here? Because he almost kind of dies and comes back.
It's like the next part. So what ends up happening is the wolves take him to the magical lake in the middle of the forest where the great forest spirit is. Mm-hmm. And we get to see I think he's the allegory for Jesus because he's walking on water and he heals wounds, but he kind of has like a just kind of way of helping people. Like so the wolves take Ashitaka to not only get his arm healed, but to get the bullet wound healed. Mm-hmm. And the great forest spirit, who's seen as like a deer almost, but he has a human face, but his feet or like his hooves almost look like reptile feet or scales, kind of. Like bird feet almost.
It looks like bird legs, but like it will be like 3 claws. It's like almost like a 3 hoof, kind of like a camel almost at the end.
Yeah, but he's still a deer.
Yeah, and then he has a very humanoid face too.
He just looks like an old man.
Mm-hmm. And then he has like a lion's mane almost. Yeah, and then just like a body of like a fucking big old elk or big old moose or whatever.
Yeah, and he's walking on water, and he heals Ashitaka's like bullet wound. Mm-hmm. And it's super, like, scary, like, how he looks almost. Mm-hmm. Because in later scenes, like, we end up back here, and we just get, like, the most, like, horrifying, like, nightmare fuel just from his facial expressions. Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, we meet fucking Forest Jesus, and the boars are gonna lay out a plan to like raid Irontown because they just want to kill Lady Eboshi. Mm-hmm. Because all these animals are just like, if we just fucking murk this one chick, then like they'll leave our forest alone.
And like it just turns into like pig wars, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though because the pigs put on like war paint.
Yeah, they're all, like with their snouts, they're getting paint and they're painting each other.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
It looks scary, and just like the way that they rush this town, there's scenes of like grenades going off and big bullet wounds, and you just see like a pillar of fire and just pigs just like being roasted fucking with it.
Flying. So yeah, like the fucking raid turns out to be just like a murder case for fucking pigs, like everywhere, and that's the soldiers of the guy. What's the guy's name?
Chico Bo.
Yeah, Chico Bo. That's where we find out that. That's why they wear the skins, to hide their scents. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why they were able to sneak up that last time with the boar head and the...
Yeah, the animals can smell humans. And so... But yeah, so the men are with Lady Eboshi, and so no one is protecting the village. And it's up to... Well, San and a couple of the wolves are also with the boars, and they're trying to raid the town too because we know that the leader of the boars, Okuto, is blind. So San takes it upon herself to be his eyes for some reason. I don't know why that happens, but like the mother wolf Moro here, like it's funny because they try feminizing a giant 200-foot wolf by like giving her like eyelashes and like
a pink glow to her.
Yeah, eyes. A pink glow to her, like super motherly when she's talking to San. And I just thought that was funny because it's like, for what? Yeah. But anyways, so Ashitaka goes back to the village. He's able to he protects the village from being raided by that other clan that was trying to steal the iron, and he learns that the women need help, so he's gonna go get the men. Yeah. And he goes where Lady Eboshi's at, but they just find like a bunch of dead bodies, a bunch of dead boars, like an entire like field just full of like dead boar bodies and dead human bodies. And we get to like a ditch of just human bodies just being laid out in this giant mass grave, and there's just this one guy sitting like in the corner just crying to himself and like super shut in. And Ashitaka's just like, yo, what happened? What the fuck's going on? And we meet the guys that he rescued from the beginning of the movie, and they try explaining to him like, dude, like the boars caught us off guard, they murked a bunch of us, and Lady Eboshi and Jikobo are telling us to keep going, and everyone's got PTSD from something that happened like an hour ago, and now all their friends are dead. It's super sad. It feels like it's trying to say that human greed like can hurt humans as well. Like it doesn't just hurt the animals and nature. Yeah, it's destructive in and of itself to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fucking pollution, all this fucking crazy shit, or whatever's happening in India. Goddamn.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Shout out to India. That's super sad.
Yeah. Crazy shit. But at this point, that's where what's his name? The big Okuto? Okuto, the big boar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he gets hurt, right? At the end of this battle?
Yeah. So, we find a wolf underneath a boar body, and the Jikobo's men, who are like the hunters, the raiders, they're these guys wearing like red bandanas over their faces, and they're supposed to look super menacing because you can't see who they are. They try like stopping Ashitaka from getting this giant boar off of this wolf, and because he knows the wolves to be friendly to him because he's trying to bang San.
Correct.
So Jikobo's men are trying to stop him, being like, don't you fucking get that wolf out of there or we're gonna shoot you. But the actual Irontown men, because they like Ashitaka, they like almost murder Jikobo's men, and like they just start like beating them over the head and knocking them out, and it
takes me out of it took me out of fucking like, I wasn't expecting this at all, because in most animes that you watch, when you see like a high military ranking person, like, it is what it is. Like, that's what he says, is that's what the way it's gonna go. But like the people just like, nah, fuck that, and just started stomping on him.
Yeah,
it was so cool to just see it. It was cool.
And it was great because the guys were like scared, and like they were trying to be badass 5 seconds before, and now they're like terrified of these random villagers.
Yeah, and then they help Ashitaka out of the between the boars, because everybody's fucking dead.
They help the wolf out of Ashitaka's the boy.
Yeah, that's right. But
they help Ashitaka get the boar off of the wolf. Okay.
Yeah, and that he gets out. Both get out, and they both go meet San.
Yeah, they go meet up with San because he tells the wolf like, "Yo, take me to her." But so San, because she was with Okuto during the battle, she's kind of helping him go up the mountain to like the forested lake part where the forest spirit is, because this dude's bleeding out. Like, it's this giant, ugly, dying boar bleeding out of his giant snout and
like his
mouth.
Belly. And
there's arrows in his butt, and like,
it's crazy.
He's blind and got gunk in his eyes, and it looks so ugly, but it's supposed to look ugly. It's like,
it's a battlefield.
It's like impressive how ugly they made this character look.
And they do these close-ups up to his eye when he starts seeing, quote-unquote, seeing his boar soldiers.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be just fucking those other Imperial soldiers that we see with the red fucking bananas over.
Yeah, like the Jokobo's hired men, because, so, you're right. So, since Okuto's blind, he only works off of smell, and he just smells like boar skins. He's like, my warriors are here.
They came for me.
But we know it's humans inside of these, like, boar pelts, which is in and of itself disgusting, because they just killed these boars. So that means they didn't...
It's the freshest. It's not going to smell that bad.
Yeah, that's disgusting. So they're literally wearing these ripe-ass boar skins, and they're riding behind Okuto, and they're letting him lead them to, like, the Great Forest Spirit, because their whole goal here is to cut off his head and sell it to the Emperor or whatever.
And at some point, like, the boars, quote-unquote boars, the soldiers that they're dressed as boars, they get close to him and he starts bleeding or puking blood.
It's clear they're just like stabbing the shit out.
But the way you see it, it's like baby boars trying to feed on the mother almost.
Yeah, that's exactly what that imagery looks like. And but then you just see his mouth and he just starts like gushing more blood.
Yeah, dude, it is fucking crazy.
And he still has no idea what's going on. And San's still there trying to be like, Okuto, like, these dudes are stabbing you.
Like, they're human. No, they're my soldiers. No, bro, they're humans. Gotta listen to me.
He's tripping.
And dude, I don't know, it's fucking crazy. He then gets shot again. He
gets shot again. They shoot him again, and it starts poisoning him just like it did Nago. Yeah. So like the red, black, purple worm demon things from the beginning.
There were different shades of color. Like at the beginning, we did see a lot of purple, black, gray.
Oh, these are more reddish.
These are more reddish. Yeah, more blood looking.
Oh yeah.
And well, he starts getting demonized, I guess, and he starts just going apeshit again.
Yeah, and San gets caught up in his mouth, and she starts getting taken over by the curse, and then so he gets all the way to the lake, but Moro's there, the giant white wolf, and she's a god too, and she's like, I can't believe you let them do this to you. Don't go in here and poisoning the forest spirit or whatever, like from god to god, like I will fight you right now. So and Moro's like dying too because she was shot like 2 days ago. So she tells the small wolf, she's like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I was saving my last bit of life to kill that Lady Eboshi, but I guess I have to use it to kill Okuto right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because, like, so we get like a brief altercation between them, but at that very same moment, the Great Forest Spirit like stops their fight and kind of cures Okuto, or I can't remember what happened there, but we only get like 5 seconds of reprieve because Lady Eboshi tries shooting the Great Forest Spirit in the head as it's walking towards Moro and Okuto. And that is like the craziest, just like split second facial expression, because the eyes on this red old man looking deer human bird feet thing, his eyes go wide like he's about to die, or it looks so crazy. It looks like Majora's Mask almost, the way it's
just changed. I don't know, it looked fucking ridiculous. It almost reminds me of like that part in the season 1 of Promised Neverland when the little black girl gets shot, quote unquote, but we know that she just got knocked out. But we see this animation that she's just like,
yeah,
you know, through the head. And we see the same thing with this fucking weird thing. And you're right, the eyes just become so aware.
But then immediately goes back to normal. And then Lady Boshi's just like, well, he is a god. I guess it'll take more than one shot. And it seems like the humans are going to lose, and like the Great Forest Spirit's just going to win right here. So he stops, or like he puts Okuto down, he stops the fighting, and so it's nighttime. So he's going from the Great Forest Spirit little animal mode, and he's like transforming into the giant like see-through dark spirit or whatever. But at that very second that he's transforming, they shoot his neck, and his head just falls off. And then just like all shit breaks loose at this very moment, because now he's like it's starting to turn into like this toxic slime sludge like from Konosuba.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a lot like NGE kind of style.
Yeah, it looks like it starts to look like an NGE villain. Like,
yeah, it just turns super big and it turns humanoid form, but without a head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, through that process, that slime was just killing everything around.
Yeah, and we get a fucked up scene. So Lady Eboshi's just trying to grab the head of like the deer, while the other body spirit's turning into a slime sludge. And at that very moment, Moro's head, like just the head, like is still in motion and just like swooshes by Lady Eboshi and just like eats her arm. And then like immediately goes into like a little toxic bubble and dies.
Mm-hmm. And one of the motivations from the wolf was to bite her head off before she died.
Yeah,
you know,
she just wanted to kill Lady Eboshi. But what's funny about this part is that earlier in the movie, Lady Eboshi says like something like even a dead wolf's head can still bite, or something, when she says not to trust San and the wolf people. And as soon as she loses her arm in this moment, she's like, oh, I told you to never trust a wolf's head even after it's dead. And the rest of the movie from here on out is them just like running down the mountain and trying not to fall into the toxic sludge.
Yeah, because they're also looking for the head, right?
Yeah, so Jikobo and his men put it into like an iron like crate almost, and they're like rushing down the mountain to get away from all this shit. So it's up to San and Ashitaka and like the two wolves that are still left to try to get the head back and try to give it to the spirit. And honestly, Jikobo kind of just gets away with everything here. Like nothing really bad happens to him, because they get to him, they beat him up a little bit. His men like get scared and run away because everything's like turning into toxic ash around them. And then they kind of just take the crate and open it and just give it to the god. And we get some exposition at the end, like at the after the climax of this movie, that the forest spirit's just gone now. But they kind of use dialogue like, well, the forest spirit was part of the forest the whole time, so now he lives within all of us. And it's super anime and
magic.
Yeah, and Ashitaka and San, like, even though they've known each other for 48 hours, we're led to believe that they love each other.
Yeah. I mean, like every other Ghibli movie.
Yeah, like every other Ghibli movie. Makes zero sense, but whatever. And, but even though they love each other, Ashitaka's gonna live in Iron Town and help them rebuild, and San's gonna go live in the forest with the wolves.
Yeah.
And that's like the resolution to the movie. Ashitaka never even goes back to his village.
No. And, again, no story about a certain Princess Mononoke. You know what I'm saying? No.
Well, we're led to believe that San is like a natural disaster. She's a Mononoke, and she's the girlfriend of Prince Ashitaka, I guess. I don't know. It's never explicit.
Yeah, it's never explicit, but really good movie. If you're trying to look at some Ghibli animation with a little bit of gore in it, it's fucking good.
I thought it was really good. I think it's so impressive how they're able to do certain scenes for 1997.
Yeah.
And, like, there's, like, a good portion of the movie, like 10% of the movie, I'm like, I literally don't understand how they animated this in 1997.
It looks fucking awesome, man. We were just saying that we haven't seen a lot of Ghibli movies. So.
Yeah, there's like 2 more really big ones that we haven't seen. I've never seen Castle in the Sky, which is the OG. I've never seen Kiki's Delivery Service all the way through. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen My Neighbor Totoro.
Neighbor, I think I've seen it, but that was a long time ago.
Maybe we'll get to it eventually. But definitely watch Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
It's kind of long for a movie from the 90s too. It's almost 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's 2 hours with credits, but yeah, it's almost like a 2-hour run, maybe.
Excellent movie. Definite thumbs up.
Absolutely. You want to do Nerd Down?
Nerd Down.
Nerd Down.
Nerd Down.
Welcome, nerds, to the Nerd Down. That was episode 41 for our 41st episode
of Between Nerds Podcast.
Today, May the 1st. What are we gonna do? 2021.
Yeah. I guess we'll announce the winner of our April giveaway right here. It's Vivian. It's Hyperacusis' girlfriend.
Vivian, congratulations. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, you won.
You won. You did it. You're our April winner.
Yeah.
We'll hit you up on Twitter so that we can get your address or whatever, and we'll mail that out to you. And everyone, just don't forget, like, new month.
New hashtag. Please use hashtag Educated Nerds. We will be giving to the El Paso Independent School District Education Fund. I think education is important, especially right now that people's uneducation is showing.
The kids are going to start going back to school soon. You know what I mean? Like, because we're finally getting out of this COVID thing. Like, almost 40% of El Pasoans are fully vaccinated.
Yeah, you 60%. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
I don't know. Some people just, like, never get around to it. I know a lot of people that, like, keep saying, like, oh, I want to do it, and just never get around to, like, scheduling an appointment.
Mm-hmm. On the 7th, they should be St. Mark's Church giving free vaccinations.
UMC's doing walk-ins now for vaccinations.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's, like, a lot of ways that you can get vaccinated now. Because I think you can even go to... I got vaccinated the first time at not the County Coliseum, but the one downtown.
Hawkins?
No, the Downtown Convention Center.
Oh, Downtown Convention Center.
And I think they're doing walk-ins now there too.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, congratulations. And also, like, education, shout out to the teachers. Hopefully you guys get a raise soon.
This next week we're going to be watching ReZero by probably one of the best anime, or one of the most talked about anime to come out the past 5 years. Season 2 just wrapped up, extremely popular.
A lot of figures.
Yeah, and
a lot of cool figures.
A lot of cool figures. We love Studio White Fox. We like Steins Gate. We love Akame ga Kill. And I think it'll be a good week, to be honest. Don't forget to communicate with us on both Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. at Between Nerds, or you can email us anything you feel about like previous episodes, what you think we should be doing like to further promote the podcast.
Yeah.
Or
we also want to bother you with, if you guys know any like designers that are willing to work to put in time to design some, you know, English logos, cool, you know.
We're trying to revamp our current logo because we like the Japanese kanji a lot, but we want to make shirts, so we really do need something with an English like print of that.
Yeah, I don't mind, for example, you know, keeping that logo. I mean, I love that logo. We might do some stickers with that logo specifically, you know, I would like to include like a sticker with every giveaway that we give out. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, why not? And, you know, merch like shirts and shit. I would like a shirt.
I want a shirt. I've been wanting a hoodie since last year. And wow, what else? I can't think good.
No, well, you said it all. You guys can reach us Between Nerds.
Don't forget to email us, betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com. Yeah. There we go. I was missing the email.
There you go. And for the Nerd Down, we did get into something last week that we didn't talk about. We watched the Konosuba movie. Yeah, we watched the Konosuba movie, the Red Crimson Clan, or whatever the fuck it's called. And I love Konosuba. I think Megumin's a funny enough character. I don't know, and I think it's a good movie. Yeah, it is. Again, well, comparing it to Nisa Monogatari, like the underage character is there, and it's kind of off-putting at some points, but it's still a great fucking movie. Yeah, it's funny as hell. It's funny. It's like the funniest scene comes out of like the Chimera demon general for the movie, because like she's this giant like fake titted like monster thing, like this 10-foot tall woman with like these giant tits, and right away Kazuma is like he's just done with like his party with the girls, and he's like, no, I'm gonna hang out with this demon girl and her giant boobs, and he just kind of gets like we get this hilarious moment where he's just like, why does it feel like something's pressing up against my butt? Well, he's getting a backwards hug, and he's almost like hooked on her tits. Yeah, like he's just like chilling on her tits, and he's just being like hugged by behind that demon with like her tentacles. Yeah, with her tentacles, and yeah, you get that piece of dialogue where he's like, "Oh, why is there something pressing against my butt?" And he's just like, and the demon general is just like, well, I'm a something point. Yeah, I'm a chimera. Like I have both female and male parts, so there is something pressing up against your butt. Yeah, and the animations too with the faces, it's just ridiculous, hilarious. I love Konosuba. Yeah, the best gifs are from like the movie, like the animation faces, and like you're right, the way they treat underage characters is fucking weird here, because Megumin, like the mage in Konosuba, she's only like what, 14, 15 years old, and like she's even portrayed to be young compared to her classmates. But both nights that they spend in this village inside Megumin's parents' house, they like lock them into the bedroom so that they can hook up and like get married or something. The parents were like, yeah, we need you, because they bring a lot of food. Yeah, because they're kind of poor. Yeah. And like Kazuma's telling them like, yeah, we live in this giant mansion. I've got all this money because I'm selling artifacts from Earth. Yeah, I'm selling artifacts to Earth, and I'm getting super rich. So the parents are just like, and it's a JoJo's reference right here, because the dad looks exactly like Jotaro from part 3. Yeah. Of JoJo's, and the mom looks like a fucking Final Fantasy VII character. But anyways, it's super weird, because so one of the like bedroom scenes, Kazuma is like thinking about if he should like lay beside her or not. Yeah, while she's sleeping, because the mom tricks Kazuma to be in the same room where Megumin is sleeping, because she just had to use her explosion power, so she's knocked out. Yeah. So the mom locks them in the room, and he's just like circling around her like, should I lay down? I mean, I need to rest, blah blah blah. He's just going around it and thinking about, you know, this underage character, which they don't really mention that he's thinking about that. Do they?
A little bit, because like he'll say it like under his breath. He's like, I'm gonna lay next to her and I'm not gonna do anything. At least I hope not. Or like, you know what I mean? Sly stuff like that.
Yeah, but they don't really like the fact that she's underage is just put you as without really too much context, right?
Yeah.
Like, so in this scene, he is talking about, you shouldn't lay down. Well, you shouldn't lay down or try anything with an unconscious woman.
Yeah. But he almost tries to anyways, and then she wakes up at that very moment, and that's what's like. But you're supposed to think it's funny, but it's super creepy at the same time. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But anyways, it's Konosuba. It's just Konosuba as a show. It's just supposed to be both funny and uncomfortable at the same time. Yeah,
just watch it. Are we going to get another season of this?
I think so. It's very popular. They haven't announced anything for it, though.
They haven't announced anything? I mean, so far we just have season 1, season 2, and the movie, right?
And the movie.
Crimson...
It's called like the Crimson Tribe or the Crimson Dawn or something. Whatever Megumin's tribe is.
Yeah, and it's really good.
It's really good. It's super good.
Watch it.
Something that I've been wanting to get into this anime season is Odd Taxi, and we watched episode 1 last night, and I think it's pretty cool. Like, the animation's super stylized, and like it's leading up to something, because like by the end of episode 1, it's leading up that there's like a murder mystery or like an abduction or something, and that this walrus taxi driver, which like I like amorphized animals. I like BoJack Horseman. I like Agretzko. I like
Beastars.
I love Beastars.
You can never remember it, though.
I can never remember it, and I don't know why.
But yeah, dude, it looks really good, and it almost gives me like Perfect Blue vibes.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, it's all glitzy and glammy and like super average on the surface, but like there's like an underground little ugliness that we're getting introduced to, because the main guy is a walrus, but all like the flashbacks in his memories are like of people figures, and like they're humanoid, even though they're all animals.
Yeah, you can really tell that he's thinking about regular people, regular character design for a person, for a human.
It's almost like showing us that like he's in his own head, and he's kind of like he's sick almost, or like he needs like therapy, because he goes to see a doctor. And the doctor asks him, like, how do I appear to you right now? And he's like, you appear as a gorilla. And he just kind of laughs it off. He's like, yeah, I'm sure I do. And
yeah, it almost reminds me, and I mentioned this last night, that it reminds me of this Ryan Reynolds movie called The Voices.
Yeah.
Which we follow a schizophrenic person that just got out of the hospital, home, or institution, whatever he was in, and he's put in these meds. But during the movie, we follow that. I mean, he has a job and everything, but he goes on and off his pills.
Yeah,
and we see this when he's on his pills. It gets very real to where he lives, because when he's off his pills, his apartment looks very different to when he is on his pills. Also the voices refer to, because he talks to his cat and his dog at his apartment. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
What was that movie we saw 2 weeks ago with an inconsistent narrator about like an old man with dementia?
Yeah, The Father.
The Father. That one was crazy, because it's like that one. Because, like, yeah, again, it's an inconsistent narrator, because we're led to believe that this place that he's living is, like, his apartment, or sometimes it is apartment, but he's confusing memories in different years and period pieces together. And he's also confusing people with his daughters, with his nurse, with their husbands, with the doctor.
With the orderlies.
Yeah, and, like, you're never completely sure what's going on.
Where he's at or when he's at.
Until, like, the very end. It's just, we get the end point, but we have no idea what the middle or the beginning was, what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, fucking crazy. He didn't he win Best Actor?
I have no idea, but what's his name? Because
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, yeah, the British guy from he's fucking Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, he's also in the Thor movies as Odin.
Did it win? The Father won?
I believe so.
Golden Globes for Best Motion Picture Drama. That's crazy. Yeah, it's really good. I suggest everyone watch The Father too.
Was it the Globes? I don't know. But yeah, that one's really good as well. But what were we talking about before that?
Jesus Christ, it won 2 Oscars.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoa! Best performance by an actor in a leading role, Anthony Hopkins.
I told you.
Best adapted screenplay. Everyone go watch The Father immediately.
It's a really good movie.
I didn't even realize how good it was. I'm going through this IMDb and I'm just like, holy fuck.
You got all sad. Remember when we watched it?
It was super sad, bro. It's not cool because there's whole scenes of like elderly abuse and he doesn't even know what's going on, bro. It hurts your heart to watch because it's like it's just this old man that doesn't even know where he's at, just getting beat up by like a younger dude.
We don't know who he's beating
and we don't know who it is
because he confuses the character that slaps him around. He confuses him with the ex-husband of his daughter, the current boyfriend of the daughter, and the orderly from the institution.
No, the doctor.
No, the orderly.
He wasn't the orderly.
Yeah, he was. He was Kenny. He was the guy that was like just posted. Oh, he wasn't the doctor.
It's so sad.
So we don't know who really beat him up. So we follow Paul, the other guy, and then the orderly, and we're like, who the fuck beat this guy up?
We're not even sure who his daughter is.
Yeah, because then we have this piece of the story that one of his daughters had died, but he sees her in his current nurse. And then at some point, he doesn't see her.
We're introduced to his younger daughter, who like is trying to help him, but at that same time, at first he thinks that she's moving to Paris, but then she's not moving to Paris, and then
she is moving.
And then his nurse has to tell him that she did move to Paris with her new husband, but we thought we met the new husband, who ends up being the doctor. And it's just, my God.
It is a good movie. I heard this controversy about how the Oscars, and this is just speculation. I just saw this in quote unquote woke Twitter, but that they kept advertising Chadwick's death and Chadwick's character, throughout in between the Oscars, because he was nominated for Best Actor as well. And they kept advertising. So they say that they exploited his death through like advertising that, he was nominated for Best Actor and then ended up giving him to Anthony Hopkins. But it's not a bad choice, Anthony Hopkins is a great actor.
Who would they have given it to? They should have just given it to Chadwick Boseman then?
Yeah, because they kept like...
I didn't finish Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I remember I saw like the first 30 minutes, but it was like... It's so much jazz. Mm-hmm. And then I remember I got sad because, like, Chadwick Boseman looks, like, really, really skinny in this movie. Yeah. Like, it's clear that he's sick, you know what I mean? But he's acting with so much energy. Like, you can't imagine how much, like, shit he must have, like, felt or looked immediately after cutting. Like...
I mean, he knew it was GG, man. And he took it like a champ. That's all I know. I'm
barely going through the Oscar winners. I don't know why I did. Because who even watches the Oscars anymore? And
I don't watch them. I don't watch them anymore.
Well, I heard like because it was barely like last week, right?
Ricky Gervais or whatever his name is. He's the one that hosted it. For the sixth time already.
But like I heard that this was like their lowest viewer count for the Oscars like ever. Mm-hmm. And it's also because like, COVID, nobody watched a whole lot of like, nobody went to the movies. No one cares all that much right now. And they couldn't throw like the big event because it's still COVID. And but I'm barely noticing that Daniel Kaluuya won for Judas and the Black Messiah for Best Supporting Actor. I love that movie. I thought that was a super good movie.
I heard about it. Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? It's just about like Black Panthers and like CIA, like, or I guess the FBI just like not letting Black people live their lives. I don't know. It's super fucked up.
Yeah.
It's just like, it feels like that could almost happen now. You know what I mean? Because it's just like Black Panthers putting a spy for the FBI inside the organization and just like uprooting it from the inside. I
feel so embarrassed that I don't know this, I do know this, but I forgot. What is the name of the Latino organization as well? The Civil Rights Organization?
Oh, I have no idea.
They were at the same time. They were going on at the same time as the Black Panthers, because you see pictures of Black Panthers. Anyways, I would like to see a movie about that too. I don't see a lot about
you. Did you ever hear that, like, the CIA used to, like, try to sterilize, like, Mexican men that were coming over the border every day to work? Like, back in, like, the 50s?
Like, Native Americans, too, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And that shit's fucked. I want movies about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I want, like a real representation of like how just fucked up like the government's always been.
Are you familiar with the Mandela case?
No.
Well, apparently Mandela was putting light on
Nelson Mandela, like the African.
Yeah. That he was shining light on the government because they were like experimenting with different like they were castrating people, they were poisoning Africans.
Okay.
And that's why he got put in prison all those years.
That's super sad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
God,
that's crazy.
The United States government sucks. I remember I saw an argument recently that like I don't understand why like certain groups of Americans hate immigrants from Central and South America so much when these people have been living in like unstable governments and like countries for the past 100 years because of things that the American government's been doing for like forever.
Yeah. It's
like it's our fault, and then we're gonna be like, nah, you stay your ass over there and fucking die.
Yeah,
even if it's people just trying to work, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. But also, what else did we get into? Did you finish The Way of Your House Husband?
I finished The Way of the House Husband. It was only 5 episodes. I thought it was cool. I don't know why it took me so long to watch 5 episodes. Super weird. I'm sorry, but I think it's cool. Like. What they're gonna do with it, because they've already announced season 2, which is what, like 5 episodes. Like, and the animation's so cheap, like nothing's in motion.
It's like
nothing's in motion. It looks like South Park, like
not even.
But it almost looks like paper cutouts, like just like floating, like
and I was excited to see like some like Yakuza fights like in full motion. I was hoping that animation style was gonna be used throughout the mundane lifestyle that he's living, but I thought that at the point that he would get into arguments or fights, I thought they were gonna kick it up a notch for that, but no, they don't. It
literally just looks like a manga.
It looks like you're going through panels in a comic book, like
He threw his left fist, he threw his right fist. It's there's no even like connecting frames. It's super entertaining though.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun because you're seeing this rigid, callous guy who is a fucking Yakuza leader that
and he's just doing house husband shit. I want more background on the wife though, like how they met or how he quit the Yakuza.
Well, you get this piece of animation where they do flashbacks, and when he meets the parents, and the father-in-law was like, oh man, I remember when I met him, he was so like intimidating and scary. So they had a legit relationship like we see in
That's
other
what I mean.
animes.
I want to know how they met, because she's got it's the way of the house husband, and it's not like they have kids or anything. He's just like a stay-at-home husband.
And we are led to believe that the lady works for like an accounting company.
Yeah, she works super hard. She's fucking a Gretzko or some shit, just like busting her ass. But she's got a Yakuza husband. I want to know more about how that happened. Yeah, I need to know more about that. Like, yes, it's funny that he goes grocery shopping. That's hilarious.
And it reminds me of like how the light side of John Wick's life would have been.
Yeah. Like, yeah. It's exactly John Wick. Yeah. The way the house husband is about John Wick.
Light side of the story, not the dark, cancer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
shout out the way of the house husband.
Shout out. Yeah, it's really fun.
Netflix.
The animals are really cool.
Netflix, I know you listen to this. Please release The Way of the House Husband season 2 immediately, and we need season 2 of Beastars.
Mr. Netflix himself.
Beastars is in Netflix jail. This always happens with Netflix anime, and I have no idea why. Like, this already came out like 8 months ago in Japan. And
no dub.
Yeah, and Netflix were just like,
oh well, we didn't even see them.
I don't know why they just can't release it.
Fucking assholes. Because I think they have to get their money's worth of the rights that they get, so they do releases like, oh, this is the release for July. And they'll try to stretch all their money they can from the rights that they got for those movies, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then they have to introduce something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's how that works.
I hate Netflix.
But I miss Netflix is original, so I don't even know why that's an issue.
Remember when Netflix, like, when it first came out, it just had everything.
It had everything.
It was like 5
CDs. It sent you CDs. It sent you the DVDs.
Well, I'm talking about the online platform. But yeah, you used to be able to get DVDs and stuff through Netflix in the mail. I remember that because I remember like I would get games in the mail. But like I'm talking about the actual like streaming service, like when that started, like it was weird how much they had like on the platform. They had a bunch of movies. That was what made Breaking Bad popular.
There was no regulation of like regional release or original like rights and shit like that. Because if you use a VPN and you get a VPN in Mexico, you'll get Chavo del Ocho. You'll get your Mexican shows and shit like that in there.
Yeah.
And if you hook into fucking Canada, you'll get their shows. If you hook up to Japan, you'll get their fucking shows.
Yep.
So it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy how we saw that.
Yeah.
Happen. The death of Blockbuster.
Getting old's weird. I'm like 28 in 3 weeks.
28 in 3 weeks, yeah.
Why are we old?
Hey man, I have a baby.
You have a baby, bro.
Yeah, shout out to Saeed Mendes.
I've got 2 dogs.
You have 2 dogs, and she's a fucking giant.
Yeah, both my dogs are huge.
What else did we get into? We didn't even finish talking about Odd Taxi.
Oh, we didn't finish talking about Odd Taxi. How did this happen?
So we talked about the movie Voices with Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
But yeah, we followed this walrus character that's going to the doctor to get meds for his presumed schizophrenia at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's cool because like there's a community in this section of the town that like knows him, because there's like a sushi bar that I guess he's a regular at, because both the sushi bartender, this monkey who's a janitor, and the gorilla doctor, like they're all hanging out outside of him, talking about him and how much of like a weird guy he kind of is. Mm-hmm. And I guess like it seems like maybe he's got some underground Yakuza shit going on too, because the main like issue in
the episode starts with somebody getting bricked on the lake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're like led to believe the disappearance of this woman that we've seen, it's happening around that time.
Yeah, and we learned that she was in his taxi the week before.
Mm-hmm. But the flashback of that person getting bricked in the lake, it's on red. And we also know that his specific flashbacks are in red.
Yeah.
But where that girl disappears, we don't see anything on there in red. So it lets me to believe that and at this point the narrative is like wants you to believe that this guy did it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So I think, like you said, he has some Yakuza background, because he might have done some crazy shit, and now he's just trying to hang out, chill as a taxi driver.
Yeah, because there's like a whole nother scene. So it seems like maybe we'll be introduced to characters like from the inside of his taxi, because we meet like a young dude like who's a hippo, but he's like obsessed with Instagram and Twitter, and he just wants to go viral. Like he teaches the main character what it means to go viral. Mm-hmm. And like all he wants out of life is to like be popular on the internet, which like I don't know whose fucking life goal that is, but whatever.
Hey, we're trying to make a podcast here.
But like we don't do it, obviously we don't do it to be popular.
Yeah.
But so he's taking him home in his taxi, but they get stopped at a cop roadblock, but they recognize our character. They recognize the taxi driver, the walrus guy, and they're like, "Oh, it's you." And he's like, "Make it snappy. I've got somebody in my cab right now." And
very like narco.
Yeah, super like be on your way.
It's like, bro, it's like I pay your salary. It's like get the fuck out of here or something like that. Like it just seems like the taxi driver is in charge here.
And like they're looking for like a gangster. They're looking for like a Yakuza, like some baboon looking character.
Yes.
And they show him the picture, but like the cop that knows our character knows that he knows the guy they're looking for. So he's just like, hey, like kind of don't say anything, like just be on your way.
I like that you're well versed on your primates. I like it. I was like, baboon. I was gonna say baboon. You got it. Okay, cool.
I just I was there's like a Netflix nature documentary that just got uploaded.
I watch
it's called
those
like
all the time.
But like it's that same British guy, but this one's just based on color.
Oh, Sir Arnold Ottenbaugh?
Yeah. Whatever his name is. Yeah, him. Yeah. But the only reason I had baboons on the mind was because like part of it's about baboons and their colors. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so that's like what we're introduced to in episode 1. It's just like there's a murder mystery, missing girl, there's Yakuza, and they're all kind of linked around this taxi cab driver. Mm-hmm. I might just finish watching it the rest of the season. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's barely in its 4th episode. We watched the first episode, but yeah, later on where he takes a picture with, and we get this weird piece of dialogue, and we know that our main character, the Warwars, it's savvy. He thinks quick. Is because the guy that you're talking about, the guy that's obsessed with social media, he asked him a question just to be polite, like, hey, well, how do you do, or what do you do, how do you, anything interesting happened today, or something like that. And he takes a while to respond, and he tells him, is like, well, I only have 5 ways to approach this.
He's like, I could be honest about it, or I could say like the polite thing,
or I can say like nonchalant shit or something like that. But yeah, we know that he's thinking on his feet, that he has a quick, head.
He's a gangster.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Like the same character in The Way of the House Husband.
Yeah. That's funny. And but one other cool scene that happens, which is like, it's still just showing like how corrupt everything is so the walrus is leaving the clinic because he just finished talking to Dr. Gorilla, but like that monkey cop is there again. Mm-hmm. And he notices that there's a camera inside of the cab, and he's like, you record everything in this hut. He's like, so the missing girl, the last time she'll have been filmed was like on the memory card in this camera. And the monkey, he seemed to be a corrupt cop. He just like takes the memory chip. He's like, don't tell the actual cops about this.
Yeah, it's like, don't call the cops. I already got this. I'll do the paperwork or some shit like that.
And at the very end, we see that he's giving the memory chip to the baboon gangster guy
at the end, which is the very reveal.
And that's our cliffhanger, and that's like the end of episode 1.
Yeah, really cool. Very good animation. It almost seems like it's like inked with like one of those like dip ink pens. It's super grainy and very shaky at its like borders on the background animation, but not in the forward animation for the forced perspective. But everything on the background looks very good.
It almost reminds me of how comics in a newspaper look. Because on that kind of paper, they're kind of like little dots and kind of
it was very porous.
It looks so dope. So dope. The rest of the month of May, I just want to put out our watch list. So we know we're watching ReZero this week. The week after that, we're going to be watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Season 1, which is parts 1 and 2. And then we're going to be watching Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 that just finished like last month. And then we're going to be watching the winner of the current poll. But like, I think it's clear who's going to win, and it's going to be Made in Abyss. We're going to be watching Season 1 and the 3rd movie, because the first 2 movies are just rehashes of the main series. So I'm excited. It should be dope.
Yeah.
It's been a good month. Everyone, don't forget to use #EducatedNerds so we can give to the El Paso Independent School District Education Fund.
Hell yeah. And yeah, use the hashtag, get entered to the giveaway. We're gonna get something spicy again. Shout out to Vivian. Congratulations. Like as we said, we'll get in touch with you. And I think that's been Between
Nerds.